What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the New and Experienced Investor Podcast. Today we have an awesome guest. He's actually calling in. We're going to be doing more virtual interviews, and my friend Aaron is the first one. Super excited to have him on. I'm Alex Barnett. I'm one of your hosts. I'm the new guy.
I'm Joe Holmes, and I'm the experienced guy.
That's right. Yeah, Aaron Lambert is the founder of RKL Investments, a real estate investment company focused on creative finance, acquisitions, dispositions, and cash flowing rental assets. With a track record of 200 plus wholesale transactions, 50 plus properties bought and sold, and over 30 million in real estate transacted. Aaron brings real deal experience to every opportunity. Today, he manages 4 million plus portfolio across Airbnb, midterm, and long-term rentals, with continuing to build strategic partnerships, raise capital, and expand into a rental markets across the states. My buddy Aaron, let's bring him on. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, my man? How are you?
Great. I wanted to just talk really quick about how we met. We actually met I call it business church. I forget what it was. It was like the Pace Morby and business deal maker weekend.
Deal maker, yeah.
But we were actually in a deal that was supposed to happen. It was a Hemet deal. And there was like 7 daisy chainers on there.
Oh my God.
And we almost got it through the finish line. And guess who screwed it up? Let's all say it together. The agent.
Okay.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. And the agent screwed it up because he wasn't talking to the dang probate attorney. He wasn't telling the probate attorney, like, hey, this is the numbers. And then the probate attorney was like, oh, I got to get paid. And this dude was trying to get paid like some crazy amount of money. We're like, no.
Yeah. No.
And then they tried to hold our E&D for like, I don't know how long. And we had to get that back to whoever. I think it was your guy. Right?
Yeah.
There was so many people in that deal.
It was crazy because we found like it was like out in the middle of nowhere, and it had this garage. So we found like the perfect buyer that was looking for all this land, and he owned like a shop, and he wanted to have a shop there. One buyer, he was ready to go, walked it and everything, and then it all blew up at the end. So
people get greedy.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice entry fee. No, it was probably like 150 or something. It was up there. I mean, I think the house was like 700 or something, but
it was a win-win for everybody. And then, people get involved, but it was funny because then I met Aaron there, and I was like, I'm pretty sure we were trying to do that deal together. And then from there, it was just love at first sight, as they say in the business. Well, why don't you jump? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was going to just comment a little more on that deal. We actually reached out to Pace and asked him about a probate attorney and how to do probate sub-twos. And he's like, oh, yeah. So he sent me to his probate attorney, and his probate talked to him back and forth a little bit. And then finally, he just was like, he talked. I don't know if he talked to the other probate attorney. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to help y'all. The whole deal was just like, no, we can't do it because it was California rules over like, I guess he was in Vegas, or not Vegas, Arizona or something. But that was a nightmare, headache. Yeah, we're getting paid. Nope.
No, yeah, exactly. Classic wholesale deal. It's funny how many people will do all sorts of transactions outside of California, and then once you bring up, hey, this is actually in California, they're like, nope, we're done. I don't know why that is, but
I don't know.
Yeah. There's plenty of deals to be had.
It's people in California love California. It's the people outside of California that are being told there's too much red tape. Don't get a rental because people will squat. And it's very true, but it's not reality for the majority in California. You know what I mean?
Correct.
It can happen, right? But it's harder to deal with. When I was wholesaling. We went and we was wholesaling a deal in Desert Springs. Hot Desert.
Desert Hot Springs.
There you go. And The deal was we ended up having to pay as the wholesaler. We went and paid cash for keys for these squatters. There was just like 5 or 6 in there, and we ended up getting the cops over there. That's what we had to do to get for the seller to buy the property. And it was like we were selling it to New Western. New Western had the buyer. So we drove out there from Vegas, gave the dude $5K cash for keys. Well, we locked up the house. The police put the signs on it. We made them sign paperwork and everything that they wouldn't come back.
They
The
came
very
back.
next day, there was a woman that was staying there that wasn't there when we went there. she went there the very next day, and then everybody was living there again. Nobody knew about it until we sold it, and then the buyer was like, "Hey, they still got people in there." And I'm like, "Bro, we got them out like the day before you closed. I can't help you didn't go over there and secure the property." But yeah. So that was like a nightmare situation. But I did get my 5K back, and I made like 20 on the deal. So
There we
Nice.
go. That's a happy ending.
yes, it was worth the drive.
Heck yeah. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and kind of introduce yourself to the audience and let us know how you got into real estate and, bring us up to current day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I started in real estate. Well, my name's Aaron Lambert, by the way. You already know that. From Louisiana, moved to Vegas in 2020. COVID happened. Started on a whim. I'm not a business owner at this point, not an entrepreneur. Started a business selling COVID supplies. When COVID happened, everybody needed a mask and gloves. Well, long story short, I was able to get a COVID test kit distribution with a company out in New Jersey. Next 18 months, I did like 30 million in revenue. And whenever COVID died, dude, it was like me and another guy. The other guy wasn't doing much work. I was like literally handwriting invoices, drop shipping millions of dollars worth of test kits across the country. Government agencies, Walmart, McDonald's was buying them from us. They didn't even know who they were buying them from. But it was wild. So, anyways, that calmed down, and I took some of my winnings, as I would call it, and started buying real estate. I bought 5 properties in Louisiana, which is where I'm from. Turned 3 of them in Airbnbs, one in the midterm, and I kept one as a long term. Bought some property out here in Vegas, and then something unfortunate happened. Me and my partner on the test kit side of things, we got swindled out of like the $1 million that was left in the company. So that kind of put us in a bad spot. So I started wholesaling for I did it 3 years. And then between wholesaling, I bought a couple creative deals in Dallas, like some turn them into co-livings. Right when that started being a thing, like Pad Split 2023, bought another Airbnb in 24 creatively. I bought that one for $2,000. Just took over the mortgage over in Houston. That was a cool deal.
Crazy.
I think the closing cost was more than the money I gave to the seller.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I started fixing, flipping. Did some out here in Bullhead, which is Arizona. Some in Vegas. 24, and then 25. I bought another co-living property. Went on fractional, raised a bunch of money there, and then I started raising capital for some deals out here, and then started finding these deals, and we started wholesaling in Florida. And then I started looking at the deals in Florida, and I was like, oh, these are nice. There's some nice spreads on these deals. So started fixing, flipping in Florida, and that went well. And then we started looking at new construction because the houses we were flipping were flooded houses. There's a lot of red tape with flooded houses. There's not that much red tape, not as much red tape with if you're scraping it and building it because you're building it above floodplain. So we started doing that, and I got projects down there. Simultaneously, was raising a bunch of capital out here in Vegas because out here in Vegas we have, I think we purchased maybe 25 or 30 since October single family homes that we convert into 55 plus co-living. It's like the pad split model, but for older people. And what's great about them, if you know what pad is, those tenants like to jump around and move around. What's great about the people that are 55 plus is they don't like to move much. So occupancy stays high, and we can put 2 in a room as opposed to pad split. You can only put 1. So, I mean, that's up to date. So now that's where I am today.
Perfect.
And I'm close to assisted living, first assisted living for a memory care, and doing this new construction in Florida. And that's been my short stint in real estate. and now I'm here, sitting in here with you.
Do you, in your pad splits, 55 plus, two in a room, do you have bunk beds, and who gets the top?
No, they're 55 plus. We do buy single stories. No, that would be nice. I actually toured a property the other day. It's like 3,500 square feet, single story, 26 beds, 4 rooms, 26 beds.
Oh my God.
She rents them out to the airlines, and she had 90% of her clientele or tenant base was Spirit. So Spirit went bankrupt and everybody left.
Oh no! So now she wants to sell.
So sad.
Oh.
And so she's trying to master lease that out. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with that. I don't want to do the airline thing, but yeah. So no bunk beds for the 55 plus.
Okay.
Single story, 2 to a room, but 2 singles, like 2 little twin beds.
Yeah.
They like the company, you know. They probably don't mind it.
Is the whole space one gender, or different genders in different rooms?
Typically, it stays the same gender, but there are some that are mixed. It really depends, because some of there's like some real elderly ladies that are just like, they just chill on the couch and hang out, and so it's all just kind of that genre. Maybe some a little better shape than others, just so to help around the house, whatnot. And for the men, they got some houses they're all veterans, even though they're not on like a voucher or anything. And then there are some that are just kind of mixed with, some people are still like, they still work, so, and have cars. So the way that my partners do it, they when they do the application, or when the lead comes in, they'll talk to them, and then they kind of place them, one, where they need to be in an area, and 2, in a certain house that fits their, whatever it is, their situation, their gender, and whatnot.
Wow.
Love that. So it seems like you kind of, in a short period of time, you've jumped around to different asset classes, different exit strategies. If somebody was just starting out, would you suggest that they start wholesaling, or go straight to a different exit strategy, whatever's working?
Personally, I would tell them to run as fast as they can from wholesaling, but that's just me, because I don't like it.
Sure.
For me, it was like, it was a love-hate relationship, because we were wholesaling mostly creative deals, and that is painful, very painful. If I had to do it all over again, if I had to give any advice to anybody that's thinking about wholesaling, because it is a very low barrier of entry, I would maybe think about doing the bird dog method before that, right? It depends, and you might be set up, like you might have some capital that you want to allocate. Maybe you meet a partner or something. But my suggestion, or advice, if you was going into wholesaling, would be to focus on cash deals, not creative deals. I mean, most people probably think that anyways when they think wholesale, but the wholesale creative is like, I would rather wholesale cash, take that money, buy the creative deals if I had to do it all over again.
Yeah, I agree. There's just so many moving parts, and then you trying to squeeze out $5,000 from all that stuff is just, it's kind of unbearable at some points.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we've seen kind of when it comes to the sub twos, there was like a sort of a backlash, because there were buyers that were defaulting, and then the seller has your contact because you were the point of contact, and now that's like tarnished your reputation. That luckily never happened to me, even though I've wholesaled sub twos. As far as I know, everyone's paying, but it's definitely when you're just going willy nilly with it, I'm sure there's a lot of buyers that just stop paying and said screw it.
It happened to me.
Okay. Please elaborate.
Good story.
Were you vetting any of these buyers that you were selling these properties to?
At first, it was our first deal, right? After that, it was a semi-vet, right? I don't think we vetted them fully. And it came to it was like, how many deals have you bought like this? Like Do other people know you? Like most of the people in the community, really. And if they had the cash to close, like, okay, let's go, right? Whatever. The wholesaler's not thinking about vetting the buyer most of the time. I say that a really good wholesaler should, yes. On
Mm-hmm.
our first deal, we had a lady, she was actually an agent. It was a listed property. It was an Airbnb, and it was generating money. I don't think it was cash flowing, but they wanted to sell it, and they was buying another house. And so we ended up getting under contract, and we found a member in one of our communities that we're in, and he bought it, and then he was gonna do the Airbnb thing, but he immediately wrapped it to another buyer, and which is fine, whatever. But he let the mortgage lapse like 60 days instead of paying it. Like the whole purpose of, in my opinion, like one of the real cool things about a wrap is you as the seller, right, have a layer of protection to protect the original seller. Like, okay, so you're the buyer, right? You're the buyer. You're gonna now wrap it to somebody, which a wrap is just taking the deal and selling it to somebody with adding some points on it. But for me, that's a great deal because if you, as the newest buyer, default, I have time to then go make it right with the bank and make that and then get you out, right? Because that would be the stipulation. Like if you don't make payments, you got to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's
Mm-hmm.
what is it called? Like I guess it would be like a contract for deed or like a lease option kind. I can't remember the contract that he
Yeah.
did, but
Mm-hmm.
that's what happened. So they started calling us, and they're like, my credit went down like 80, 90 points. I think it was like
Ooh.
120. I was like, oh my
Ooh.
God, are you kidding
Ooh.
me? And then we called the guy that we sold it to, and he's like, he's being just a jerk about it. He doesn't want to do anything. He's like, no, you're not right. I'm like, bro, here's the credit report, my man. I'm like, you didn't pay a mortgage for 60 days. Like, what's going on? Anyways, it drug on for us like probably a year because she kept calling. She was crying. She's like, I don't know what to do. We got to buy another house. Like it was a nightmare. And I didn't even know what to do. I sent her to some like credit, fixer people that say they can do
Mm-hmm.
move mountains, right? But I don't know if it ever happened. But yeah, it was something that I was like, man, I do not want to do that again. I don't want to mess people's lives up. I
Right.
don't want to mess with people's money. Don't want to mess people's lives up. So it was a very very a hard lesson learned that lingered for a while. I mean, she hadn't contacted us in a while, so I'm assuming she got it all taken care of. But still rough.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of hard to learn those lessons without actually going through that sort of thing. I think some of the backlash from maybe the people looking at mentorships that teach creative finance on the outside is like they explain it in a way where it can get you started to where you can understand the basic functions of each of these exit strategies, but they don't really lay out the cons, I guess. I mean, there's 100 different things that could go wrong, so how could you? But it maybe you teach it with a little bit more caution. I'm not sure. I don't know what the answer is.
It depends who's teaching.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because it's like it can get explained really easily, and so you're like, oh yeah, that's simple enough. But you just don't know what you don't know. It's classic phrase, but that's how you learn.
think I think for me it's more like whenever I'm talking about it, like I'm telling people is like if you're gonna buy it for you or if you're in the deal, you control some aspect of it
Mm-hmm.
and you're a stand and not a piece of crap, yeah, buy
Mm-hmm.
it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Buy
Yeah.
it because
Totally.
it could have a good interest rate, it could have good terms
Yeah.
and all this stuff.
Yeah.
The wholesale aspect of it is where it kind of gets tricky because now you're handing it off to somebody that you don't know if they're going to perform. So now you're putting the seller at risk, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, but whether to tell somebody to do it or not, it all depends on their situation. How to. But I think the wholesale aspect of it is the kind of this part you want to stay away from. And there's another point that you might be able to expound on is I struggled with is like always raising capital, right? They tell you go raise capital before you get a deal. right? Well, okay, I got somebody that wants to lend some capital for a year. I got a seller finance deal or a sub two deal. Like, okay, cool, right? They come in the deal. The deal makes, they want 12%. The deal makes 20% cash on cash. Well, at the end of the year, you got owe that principal back to the lender. It's like the property didn't make that much.
Mm-hmm.
How do you back the lender? So you have a lot of that going on too.
Right.
People doing these short-term loans on like creative finance deals, and they're not getting paid back, and they're getting stuck with either not getting their money back or a house that's not performing.
A year seems like it's a long time until that year comes up and that payment is due. You're like, wait a second, I just got this thing.
It goes fast.
It goes real fast.
It goes fast.
And then you don't just block their number, do you? I've never done that.
No, for who, my lenders?
I'm just kidding. Yeah, no,
absolutely not.
No, I'm just joking. No, and that's one thing that I do like about you, Aaron, and you are raising capital, and like Joe and I cover a lot of times on here is like guys that start raising for funds, into like the hundreds of millions, and then they're just basically living off of that and then never paying it back. But I know even with you, it's like some deals go sideways. You're always picking up the phone. You're always, like facing people head on and just talking them through whatever may be going on, because that's just part of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. The way I raise capital, I don't really get paid until they get paid back. When my lenders get paid back is usually when I'm getting some money, right? Either on a sale or refinance, or we're just paying them back from whatever else we got capital coming in, right? That's when I get paid on most of all my deals.
It's a good plan.
There have been times where I take a little bit up front, but yeah, doing a fund and living off of that, it sounds great, but not really. I don't want that stress.
Yeah, it usually ends up like 10 years and federal prison, and then who knows.
I've always said that the only person that makes money in a syndication is the syndicator themselves, because it's like they get paid up front, they get paid during the transaction, and then they get paid at the sale.
Yeah, I mean, they're putting a lot into it. They got to get a little something. That's just,
And they never participate in the loss.
Right. Well, yeah. It's just, other people's money, but it's just part of the deal. I mean, I bet you there are a bunch, and we don't cover them, when it's just, hey, the deal went perfect, everybody got their preferred returns, and then they exited, they got their payouts, and then they're on to the next deal. And we're not seeing like the headlines from that, but
maybe because there isn't any.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah.
Okay.
No. Go, jump in.
Yeah, I was going to say, people focus on the negative more than they'll talk about the negative way longer than they'll talk about the positive. I don't know why that is in life. It just seems to happen. And talking about syndications, one of my lenders, she calls herself a newbie, but she's lent on several deals over the past 5 years, I think. And one she was referring to the other day, they had lost $100,000 on a syndication deal that they did. I think it like right before COVID or something. And she said they're still fighting, kind of get their money back, but obviously no interest, and they're hoping to get all their principal back. But yeah, it's been a struggle for the past 5 years, because they're like, that was kind of like one of our little nest eggs. We were just going to let it grow. But COVID happened and kind of screwed things up. And then the syndicators, just like you said, they, it's all written in contracts. The money goes, it goes, right? That's part of the risk, at least on their front. So yeah, it's a bad deal. But yeah, I want to hear about the good ones. Where are you? Do hear about the good ones. Do you know when you hear about the good ones? Somebody's trying to raise capital.
Yeah,
that's true. Right. They're
True.
like, I've got a deal for you, and my last 5 went gangbusters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, that is true. So what is sort of the mindset shift from going from like wholesaler flipper to long-term portfolio owner? Like what, and kind of what made you do that?
I don't know if there was there probably was a mindset shift, or just I'm a fed up shift. Like I was fed up with wholesaling was like supposed to just be temporary, not temporary for 3 years. It was supposed to, okay, do a couple deals, cool, get some traction, and then maybe roll into fix and flip. I've always been enamored about fix and flip for years before I ever did one. And I'd say before, I'd say like 5 years before I even did my first real estate deal, I I was in my brain, like I knew everything about, not everything, but like I was reading so many books, doing so much research, and where I was at the time, I was unable to move forward with real estate. And once I got to a place where I could, then I did, right? But I did at that time. I did have a mindset of like, how am I going to do? Where am I going to get the money from? But going from wholesale into fix and flip, I had already that shift had already vanished. Okay, I know where I can get the money from, but it didn't happen near as fast as I wanted to, and it was just whenever I got out of the wholesale, it was like I was just fed up with the daily grind, fed up with the you know oh, cool, we got a win. Here's your 2 grand, dude. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's cool if
Mm-hmm.
there's like 4 or 5 of those a week, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
and it was a battle too, because I wanted to do cash, and with cash you need a little more capital to do it right. Because there's a little more marketing, or you need more staff, more people. It's a lot more different than on market, because we were doing just strictly on market. And of course, you could do cash on market. The margins are thinner, but so that's just where we were. So, and once I started doing these flips in Florida, and then these properties out here in Vegas, my time was just not there, and I didn't want to do it anyway, so
Yeah.
worked out.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like when you first start in wholesaling and you get that 10 grand, it seems like so much. And then you're like, yeah, after the few years, you're like, how can I do the least amount of deals with the biggest spreads? You
Yeah.
know? And those are out there. And maybe they take a little bit longer, or maybe locating them takes a little bit longer. But yeah, Joe's got a sort of a mindset right now that we're just going for straight home runs right now. We're not screwing around with anything skinny. We're just going for home runs because we don't know how long the market's going to stay like it is. I mean, we were promised lower interest rates, but who knows when that's going to happen. And so you just kind of got to ride it out as long as you can and just go for the home runs.
Yeah, Joe. So y'all are partners on the mobile homes and stuff too.
Correct. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Okay, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see you. The mobile homes seem to be a big hit. I was just on the mastermind call earlier, and they were talking about this is all they do is mobile homes. Not in California, somewhere else, but
Yeah.
me and you've talked about it before, and
Mm-hmm.
the low barrier of entry, the decent size wins, and then just the ease of the project.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, just less competition because, people still think it's just like an RV basically that you're
Yeah.
buying and selling. So, yeah, no, we love it, and we're gonna keep on that. One other thing that I tried, or that I was a part of over this last year, was like the co-living, and I jumped, onto yours, that one in Florida. What do you, after being an operator in this? What? No, you're fine. You're fine. This is a gotcha moment. No, I'm just kidding. No, after being an operator on the co-living, what are your thoughts from the hype of it to now, like living the reality of it?
Well, I had already owned co-living before the Florida one. I have two in Dallas, and I've managed the Airbnbs and stuff. It's a little different, right? But So it wasn't a huge shock, but the Florida deal, as you know, well, let me just say, pad split model is great, but it is a lot of like it. I'm not the manager talking to the people. I would lose my mind and kick everybody out and tell them to go down the street.
Me too. Me too.
Dude, the first week that we had our first property in Dallas, it was a Mesquite property. I had the notifications on, right? Because I had been doing it for Airbnb, right? And I was pretty good at Airbnb's customer service. I was pretty chill, talking, hey, let me figure it out. Well, I got you, no worries. I started seeing all these messages come in through pad split, and the stuff that they're talking about, I'm like, are you serious right now? And then I'm like getting anxiety reading these dang messages and talking to these people. And then I had this one girl, she supposedly in the Army, didn't pay for like 4 or 5 weeks and just complained the whole time. I'm like, I was like, you know what's funny? The people that pay the least complain the most, and you are the worst. You're not even paying and you're complaining. Like, you need to change the light bulb? I got to go to Walmart. Like, and then finally I was like, I turned my notifications off. I said, I told my property manager, I was like, bro, I can't handle this. Got to take over. So, but operating co-living. So I would say, yeah, it's on paper, it looks good. The setup process can be.
Yeah. Okay.
The setup process can be tedious. Pad split takes chunks, and if people don't stay in the property, you just get chunked down every month. Our property in Florida is kind of like a one-off, meaning the amount of just literal crap we had to deal with on that one with the plumbing. But, whenever you're putting more people in this is another thing people don't really tell you. When you put in more people in a house, if you don't really kind of like plan for the extra usage of everything, then it could become a problem. Like, we've had electrical issues because of it, a lot of plumbing issues. And then we didn't have rats when we had 3 or 4 people in the house. Now we got 10 people in the house. Now we got these dudes are coming down the street with a backpack. Like, come on, bro, I got food here.
Oh my God.
Yeah, these are things they don't tell you. Nobody tells you that, right? Mm-hmm, and so it's completely different operating one of these things. And I'm so thankful for my property manager in Florida. He doesn't really bother me with little stuff, only when, obviously big stuff. But and then our properties manager in Dallas, which Jose Della Macor, I'm gonna put his name out there because I want to, thank him if he's watching ever. But he's a stand-up guy. He's probably got over 100 doors on pad split. He helped us get started out there in Dallas. Sub-2 student, really good guy, knows his stuff, like really sharp. But yeah, he's the one that was managing our properties in Dallas, and he actually did the construction and everything on them. So jam up job there. But if you're getting into co-living, right, and you're going to do pad split, you need to find you really good property managers, unless you like to hear all the bickering. And you just get and prepare and do your underwriting a little, even more conservative than you think you were doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks good on paper, but at the end of the day, sometimes.
Alex and I went to a pad split presentation, and then we also had him come to our meetup and do a presentation. Nice. And I told Alex, like literally right after that, there was one guy there that had a pad split, and he was going on, these are almost my family, and I go every week and I bring them a pizza. And I look at Alex, after the meetup, and I go, are you serious? Do you expect me to go and meet with these people that are renting my place and give them a pizza every month? That's way too much management for me. No way. I'm not doing this. That's crazy. That's nuts.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah.
Well, and I think with the pad split fees, I think the answer was always put more people in there, and then eventually you've seen it where it's like 20 people in a single family house, and that just becomes insane to manage.
Yeah, I mean, just
We
complaints
got
from the neighbors alone.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, our property in Florida, it's like a duplex. It's four
Oh
thousand
yeah.
square
No.
feet. It could literally be. We could have set it up as 10 beds and a triplex. That upstairs, I think we walked through it before and told you about it. But if I had to do it again, I think I would have done that. I would have put a little kitchenette upstairs. Of course, I could never have foreseen the plumbing issue or would have known that. But now looking forward, I know let's check that before we buy the place, especially if we're putting that many people in there. Now out here in Vegas, right? Speaking of co-living, we don't do pad split. Same model, kind of. It's shared housing, but it's 55 plus as stated, and single family, one story, no stairs, and no HOA. And our minimum is like 1,500 square feet, but we could put in like a 3-bed, 2-bath. We could put 5 people in there, no problem, and get around almost $6,000, right? So no pad split fees, and they don't leave every other month. So the model's real good, but that lead is a little trickier to get. You need more relationships with case managers. There are people that will generate those leads for you, but they're more like relationship based to acquire those leads. At least
Mm-hmm.
what I know, right? But
Yeah.
once you got that, it's good, right? When you move them in, you can put 2 to a room. Obviously, you don't want to have 2 in every room, but what we do is like we'll have um, we'll convert, like maybe we'll add a room, or maybe we'll convert the garage. We like the 2-car garage because you can make those real quick. 2-car garage, you could get two bedrooms, add 2 rooms and a bathroom, and I think it's roughly like 25 grand, but you can get either 2,400 or 3,200 depending on if some of the garages are a little bit bigger. But if you could put 2 beds in each one, that's 3,200. That's 1,600. That's 800 bed. That's $1,600 each room a month. And then you got the other 3 single rooms that we would do like 1,200 as a minimum. So the pencils out, right? As long as
Yeah.
your PITI is not too high. Of course, you have a little more expenses on the side of like kind of like the care. Like we have like a 24-hour nurse on call, right? Of course,
Oh.
we're not paying for them unless they get called, right? And same with a maintenance guy, but they are a little more expensive. I'd say they allocate maybe like $400 a month for that, and that's for a couple properties, not just one. So, but the expenses are a lot less whenever you're factoring in the pad split fees. 100%.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. And I think they're just getting, I mean, they're already like changing the fee structure and stuff, it seems like pretty regularly. The 55 plus seems like a good idea. Do you need, it's not like assisted living, so you don't need any special licenses or anything, right? Or is there any sort of, thing like that?
No, they call it independent living.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Independent living, it's like your lowest form of assisted living
Mm-hmm.
without the assistance.
Right.
So they do make sure there's like if there's a step, they have a ramp. They try to have all walk-in showers mostly. If they don't convert it to like a walk-in shower, then uh, they would just place specific tenants, right? Because not all of them are like I can't walk upstairs or nothing, because we do have some 2 stories here in town, but that's where kind of like the screening process goes in. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Joe and I are looking at a house right now where it's like one of those where the guy is just straight up, I'm done with my payments, but the payment's like $5,000.
How big's the house?
It's probably like 3,500. 5 bedrooms already.
Oh, that's
3 bathrooms.
That's money.
Okay. Thank you.
And Alex is going to manage it.
Well, if it's, dude, old people love me. So what do I got to do?
Where is it?
Beaumont. You know what that is? It's like off the 10, you know, kind of,
Yeah.
It's in like a
I know
new,
exactly
it's like I think the house was built in 2021.
Oh, okay. That's even better. Single story?
No,
2-story.
that's why he's got to leave because he's had 3 strokes. And so he can't, go up the stairs anymore. So I need to get people that
3,500 square feet. That thing's huge. What you want to do is, you know, obviously you want to understand the laws on how many people. Like here in Vegas, you can have like 10 non-related people in like a kind of a scenario. But I don't know. That's, you know, really on you. Whatever you want to do, pack them in there like sardines. or listen. Here's a model that not a lot of people are doing, and I have some partners that have done it on the East Coast. They bought a property, DSCR is a 4-bedroom. They bought it for $350, and they sold. I don't know how the structure is, but they sold each room at $100,000. One tenant, one person bought 2 rooms and rents 1 out. And then the other tenant, and then there's 2 other people bought the other 2 rooms. They own the room. They can do whatever they want with it. And then they pay a certain amount on top, like a percentage. I forget what the interest rate is, but I'm like, and they pay their own utilities. I'm like, that's interesting. I don't know the whole, like, how the deeds of trust and work and stuff like that. Like, we didn't get into that, but he's like, this is our first one. It's a pilot. And it worked, and we want to do more. I'm like, okay. So they're looking at, they're buying more. Because they originally were doing the standard, I guess it was standard. They would buy a distressed home. They would fix it up, and then they would refinance it. They would fix it up with, the co-living. But just like we know with any fix and flip, you budget 100 and it's 120, right? And there, you think it's going to take 4 weeks and it takes 4 months. So they kept on running to that. So they're like, screw that. So they started buying turnkey properties. And I say they started, they bought one and it worked out. And they're like, okay, let's do it again. So that is an interesting model. I would have to get parameters around, like I said, the deeds of trust. I don't know how they do that, but on the other
what 5-bed is that
size house. We'll say that again.
What state?
I think they did it in South Carolina.
Okay,
but they were asking me they wanted to do it here in Vegas because I think they were targeting. I don't say targeting, but they were grabbing leads that were 55 plus too. These people obviously had a little. They were established, right? But I don't know what the situation is. But it seemed interesting. We started looking at it out here, and then now they're just going to be buying some of our co-livings that we already have operating, which is nice. And they're just going to keep them like that. But I would say for the 5-bedroom, that size home, 3,500 square feet, that's monstrous. I don't know what the rents go out there, but some of our properties out here for a 1-bedroom that's like a nice size in a nice part of town that has its own bathroom can go up to $2,000 for the room.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Right. So, you have to, those tenants you have to find, but, in a house that you're talking about in California, I don't know what the rents are in Beaumont, but, that's for a private room, nice room, like but seems like you said his house is pretty new, so I would imagine it's somewhat decent part of town.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rents are in Beaumont, but
they're not. They're
worth
not
looking
great.
at. I'll look at it with you.
There we go.
It's like 3,200.
Yeah, I think it was
for the whole house. I'm talking the whole house.
So
not pad split, but 3,200. But like Alex said, the payment because this guy just bought this home like 6 months ago.
Yeah,
And so his
low
interest rate's
equity.
like 7%.
Yeah. It's,
And so, with PITIA, it's like $5,000. So it doesn't make sense to buy it because your negative cash flow, $1,800 a month. It just doesn't make sense.
It's kind of like getting a DSCR loan without the new loan, because that's right. Kind of what we're doing right now is 7% on our DSCRs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
okay.
California the rates are a lot different than over here. Like we need to be around, depending on the size. For instance, we have a 3,500 square foot thing pulls in like $13,000 a month, because it's bigger and they have like 10 people and a lot of them have their own room. So
I will manage that, Joe. I will manage that, and we'll do 75 plus.
If
75, like age,
I mean,
they're not moving.
you've got
Exactly.
you've got 5 bedrooms, and you could probably create another 4. I would say maybe more.
Right.
So if let's say you get $10,000 a month,
Yeah, that covers it.
that might work.
Yeah, and you get Ethel and whoever else in there, and I
You'd
will
have to
bring
get
them
some
pizza.
healthy people to go upstairs, though, because you couldn't
that
put
is true.
unhealthy people down.
Yeah. We need that's right.
The younger, the 70-year-olds.
Yeah, the 70-year-olds that still do triathlons.
Yeah. Put them upstairs. That's like $1,000 a month per room, which, maybe even
good.
low.
Yeah.
From
It's
what he's
super low.
saying.
That's what we do out here in Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, I mean, I don't know, Beaumont, Vegas.
Yeah.
Beaumont's a little.
They're both hot.
Yeah.
But they are hot, but there's not as much to do in Beaumont, so.
Yeah, so maybe the rents are a little higher over here. But speaking of a 35 square foot or 32, I have a 3,900 square foot. It has 8 bedrooms and 1 living quarters for the staff, and they have a little section like an office and really huge area for like activities, dining room, great room, almost like 2 living rooms as well. And it's 10 patients. It's a senior care for Alzheimer's. That thing's bringing in $40,000 a month, bro.
Ooh, there's an idea. Alzheimer's patients. They'll forget every morning they wake up where they're at.
They keep paying rent every day. And we're going to end up on the news with that one.
Yeah. That would be like that movie. What's that movie? That girl.
20, was it 21st Dates or something like that?
Yeah,
41st Dates.
Yeah,
that was a good movie. That was
a
good movie. Yeah, that was cute.
Yeah.
That was a heartwarming story, not what you're talking about, but
yeah.
I mean with the care, I know there's more like I guess legality that goes into it as far as you need the
licensing and all that stuff.
And people looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, there's a there's a lot of and those. So we were talking to them because we're buying it right now. We don't own it yet, and we were there, and they were like, "Yeah, they come because they got an A rating, right? So they got like A, B, C, D ratings, I think. Whenever they come, well, the inspectors they come, they'll give you a range. It's not like an hourly range or maybe 5-day range. No, it's like 2-3 months. Like we're gonna come between this time. You better be ready." And the first thing they go in there, they check their binder. All of the people that work there, making sure all their certificates are up to date, everything's up to date, all of their licensing, everything. And then they check the place out, make sure none of the tenants are complaining, like talking to them. Like it's serious.
Yeah.
So there's high reward, but it's a lot more work on one end to get those because you got to get zoned for it, and then you got to get the license. So it's like a big thing. You have sprinkler systems, you got a whole 9.
I'm out.
But about bringing that up is the size of it. For yours, I think it has 8. That one has 8 rooms with the 9. So like doing the 3,200 with like 8 rooms is kind of nice. Whenever you're doing the 55 plus, you want to leave lounging room, right? You want to leave the living room, the dining, kitchen kind of alone as much as you can because you want, they're already not really doing much. You don't want to keep them in a room like in a prison cell.
That's what I was
Come
going
out
to say.
without
You
all-
just can't lock them in the room, you know?
We'll slide him.
Have this
slide a
automatic
plate. Yeah.
on your phone. Oh yeah, we're gonna lock him in. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm done with that. You know, we're locking him in. He ain't
cameras.
getting out.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I'm sure.
Alex, you're managing. You go over there. You take care of it.
Oh
That's
boy.
funny.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, and that's one thing that's nice, and I encourage people to follow Aaron here, is because you're always kind of moving and shifting with the market. You're not necessarily just gung ho on one thing. Like, you could still be wholesaling right now, wholesaling creative deals, but you're trying things out, seeing what works, and then pivoting, because I mean, even in my short time, it's been 5 years now, I've seen the market change to where one exit strategy may not work anymore or as well as it did.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I kind of, I would say, don't take my route. Don't do what I did, because like you found a good lane in the mobile homes. I think that's great, because shifting goes along with, it's like, not like you got shiny object syndrome, but you got to learn kind of a whole new process. And some
Yeah.
of it was like kind of building, right? Wholesaled. Okay. I see kind of like the transactions, how that, I could talk to sellers, I could talk to buyers, agents, and title. Okay. I know how all that works. Cool. Okay. Now we're going to do our fix and flip. Right. Okay. The first one, see how that goes. And now I kind of progressed, and then went from the Airbnbs into kind of like the co-living. So, they're all kind of the similar genres, kind of building on each other. Now I'm doing new construction. I really like new construction. And I had a mentor way back when, before I had it in my brain to do real estate. And he was a real estate developer. Like 20 years or something. And me and him would talk a lot. He would just tell me everything is like so easy, because I was telling him, I was like, I always want to fix and flip. And because you see all the shows, right? You see, all the shows on TV, HGD, all these fix and flippers, and they're like, oh, make it look all cool, right? Till you actually do one. You're like, this is freaking whack. No, but seriously, like, so he would tell me, he's like, it's so easy to get in new construction. He's like, dude, you just need like 10 or 15 grand. He's like, I'll help you find a lot, and then we'll do but he would call it, it's a subordinate, right? You go kind of creative. It's like a creative deal. Before, like, I knew anything about creative finance, you would go, make a deal with the seller that has this lot that he's not doing nothing with. Like, hey, let me give you a little bit up front, and then I'll break you off on the back end, right? And then we'll use the land that you already own and put it as collateral on the loan. I'm like, back then, that didn't make sense to me. I had no clue what he was talking about. Like, didn't know a thing. Now it's like, oh, that makes complete sense. Like, duh.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right? And it wasn't until I did my first new construction deal in Florida that I realized, like, what the guy told me 10 years ago. Like, oh, that's why you do it that way. Because, I've learned the hard way, falling forward, is buying lots that have houses on them that you don't have plans on yet. That's a long time. That's a long hold time. So, but I like new construction because it's new. I don't have to dig with anybody else's crap. And, here's the plans, guy, go build it, right? I don't have to figure anything out. Like, this is the design. This is what we're going with. This guy just sold the same house for, $600,000. This is what we're building, right? Maybe a little better, maybe a little less, whatever. We're going to try to get the same. But so, and it's a longer hold time, and you do need, depending on the lots that you're buying, you might need larger sums of capital to raise. But like the ones I have in Florida right now, I got 3 of them that I'm raising capital on. One's for 400, one's 300, one's 300. But the returns on them I'm offering are great. I'm offering like a preferred and a huge chunk of the profits. So, but yeah, the new construction is kind of like where I built to, and I think I'm going to stay there for a while. I still have my co-livings at 55 plus in Vegas, but the new construction and that, I think that's kind of like my lanes now. Like I'm not really operating the the new construction, and I'm more operating on the 55 plus. But I have a really good team in Florida, so I think I'm going to build there because later on I can now build like for co-living. People are doing that now, right? It's kind of a big thing.
Right.
Building, so
Yeah.
build for
He,
55 plus, or
yeah.
yeah.
No, absolutely. And you kind of come down to knowing, okay, I'm going to have 10 people in here, so I'm going to make the plumbing, the right way and, kind of plan for that. I mean, you want to talk about red tape. This is where California, it's like they do not like new construction. Or I mean, it depends on where you're going, but there's definitely like LA and all that kind of stuff, just for whatever reason, they talk and talk and talk about needing more housing, and then they just make it so hard for developers. And that's one of the reasons why we don't go from raw land with these mobile homes, because it's just so capital intensive, and then having to get the utility company out there and all that stuff, it just doesn't pencil out. So I wonder what it's like in Florida. I mean, you see in Texas, you can get a house built in like 60 days. I mean, permits and everything. So it's kind of crazy to see how some states are, pro building and some are not as much.
You're saying they're actually building the house, or are you talking about the mobile home?
No, either one. I mean, it's like it's kind of the same thing. Like if we could go raw land, we would have so many more opportunities with this mobile home thing. But for what it would cost to bring the utilities in, and then plus the hold time and all that stuff, it doesn't make sense. So we find an old one with the utilities already there, rip that off, put a new one on, and it's basically the same timeline as a regular flip. But if you were to go raw land,
yeah.
it's just like with the permitting and all that stuff, it would just take so long,
Yeah.
and then by the time we finished, it wouldn't even it wouldn't there would be no profit left because of how much it costs.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's like I like that. I'm gonna buy this trailer. Yeah, I don't feel like fixing it up. Just remove it. We'll go bring a new one in.
Oh
That's
yeah,
perfect.
no, it's been great. The hardest thing that we found is like there aren't really any like hard money lenders or anything that are down for it, because there's the asset has to come from the factory, and travel and then land there, and then kind of get tied to the land, so it just freaks them out. So it's pretty
So
much
let me
just
ask you this,
all
because
cash.
I was in Orlando, and they had a guy that does kind of what y'all do, is the mobile homes, but he was doing so many of them, he became a dealer.
Mm-hmm.
Have you looked into
Mm-hmm.
that? Yeah,
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And you basically you get, right now we're buying them wholesale, and then our project manager contractor is taking a fee to run the whole operation. But if we became a dealers, we would, obviously get a better price on the home, and then but then we'd have to install it ourselves. So I'm not sure if it necessarily makes sense, but if we were doing like mass volume, it would definitely make sense, because we're, probably paying an extra 10 or something, 10, 15 that the dealer makes.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking about Texas, you're right. Like Houston, Houston is so crazy. They don't have any zoning.
Oh yeah. I think
You
that's the
go
one.
knock down yeah. They'll just knock down a house and just build whatever next to it. Doesn't look anything like anything in the neighborhood.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. It's like, I wonder. There's probably there's probably a decent reason as having some of these regulations, but then they just take it too far here. They take it way too far here to where it just stifles everything.
Yeah.
So awesome, man. Well, I mean, how can people reach out if they want to be a part of a lot your upcoming opportunities?
Yeah, absolutely. You could reach out to me on Facebook, Aaron Lambert, and then unfortunately, Meta just deleted my Instagram account. Just like nothing. Just it's like, we're not going to review it. We reviewed it, and you still got to delete it. I'm like, okay. So I have a new Instagram account. It's at Aaron Lambert 83.
Yep.
And yeah, you can hit me up there. I would imagine y'all might have a link
Yep.
below or somewhere.
Got all your links in the description.
Yeah.
And then yeah, how does that process go? They like book a call with you, or how are you onboarding people onto these opportunities?
Yeah, so if they're like interested in lending in some of our opportunities, then we have like an intake lender form, and they'll be able to fill it out and then go into like a booking. Or if they just want to chat and see what's going on, I have a booking link just straight to a calendar as well. So I do like people to fill out the form even if they're not lenders. I have bullet or questions on there that if you're not a lender, then okay, cool, whatever. Maybe just another investor you want to partner up. So. Because I got a lot of partners, a lot of Gators too. Because in the Gator community, I post a lot or a little bit trying to help. There's so many newbies that are like, I want to do something. So I've been offering my help. I wouldn't call it a mentor, but offering them, trying to help them get their first deal. And of course, if they got money, I want to use it. But also just steering them in the right direction, helping with them underwriting, trying to figure out like what it is. Because, just as well as I do, you get in sub-tour communities like our Gator for the first time and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be a millionaire. This is so easy. I got $5,000 and I'm about to double it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you wake up like 7 years later, you're like, what happened?
Still got the same $5,000.
Good times.
Yeah. But hit me up on any of those channels. I'm open, free. I love to chat, love to meet new people, love to connect.
Yeah. No, it's been cool following you, man. And I see you out there, and you're hosting like Zooms and where people can jump in, and you're talking about deals and all that stuff. So it seems like you got a lot going on. A lot of good stuff. So yeah, next time you're out here, we're gonna have you in studio. And I appreciate you coming on today, man. It's good catching up.
Yeah, man, I appreciate y'all having me. It was a pleasure. Joe, nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
I want to hear next time. I want to hear some of your experience.
Okay. Yeah, look at the podcast that we do every week. You'll see a lot of it on there.
Okay, I'll go check it out. Now that I've been on, I'm gonna go check it out and see what y'all talk about. Gain some knowledge, I'm sure.
Okay. Sounds great.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thanks, care.
Aaron. See you.
If you want some more advice on real estate investing, reach out to us one-on-one.